Sports Corner. This is Claude White. Now I'm going to do a segment here. Every week I'm going to try and do something different about the NBA. I'm calling it the Forgotten Men of the NBA. And the first candidate that I have, if you grew up during the time that I did, I'm not going to tell my age, but I've been watching basketball really since the late 70s and early 80s, and I really got into it with the Showtime Lakers. I remember those Magic versus Bird episodes, Magic versus Dr. J, when they got Moses Malone, Philadelphia, and they finally breaking through and winning a title. But the forgotten man on that Philadelphia franchise is Andrew Toney, the Boston Strangler. Now, the original Boston Strangler, if you're a little older than me, was World B. Free. But the reason that I call Andrew Toney the Boston Strangler is not only did he win a title, he also changed the balance of power in the NBA because they forced the Boston Celtics to get Dennis Johnson for Rick Roby. Now, a lot of people who don't know, they would have thought, oh, Boston got Dennis Johnson because he knew how to play Magic because when Dennis Johnson was at Phoenix. No. First off, in order to get to LA, you had to go through Philly. And Philadelphia was the world champions. Andrew Toney was dropping 33, 36 points in Boston when it was impossible to win in Boston. I mean, Larry Bird, let's face it. Larry Bird was a great player, but he got every call in the world. It's amazing how now people complain about Michael Jordan and LeBron James now getting calls. Trust me, no one got more calls in the NBA than Larry Bird in Boston. Nobody. I mean, you can name whoever you want. You can name Kareem. You can name Michael Jordan. You can name Akeem Olajuwon. You can name any superstar. You can name Carmelo. I mean, you can name Dwayne Wade, Tim Duncan. Take your pick. No one has got more calls in the NBA than Larry Bird in Boston. Nobody. But I digress. I'm telling you, Andrew Toney was the reason. I understand Moses Malone did his thing. He put them over the top. But trust me, they did not win a world championship without the Boston Strangler, Andrew Toney. And I'm just going to give you a certain, a bit of stats that he had. Now, he started out as a six-man. Played 75 games. He came into the league in 1980-81 season. Played 75 games. Averaged 13 points a game and 4 assists. And shot 49% from the field. And this was the real NBA, where if you went down the lane, you were getting clotheslined. I mean, they weren't any flagrant fouls. The flagrant foul didn't come into play until probably about 1985-86, with, if you remember that Lakers series, the Kurt Rambis clotheslining Kevin McHale and that ilk. I mean, that was the true NBA. That's the rugged NBA. Let's face it, David Stern, before he left as commissioner, did his best to really disregard post-play. I mean, he sanitized it to a point where if you breathe too hard on these guys, you get a foul call. But nevertheless, Andrew Toney was a great player off the bench. His second year, 81-82, he averaged 16.5 points a game and 4 assists, and he also shot 53% from the field. Now, when they won the title in 82-83, he was in the starting lineup. He averaged 20 points a game, 30 minutes, and 4.5 assists. And he also shot 50% from the field. And trust me, his playoff numbers during those 3 years were even better. He was averaging 14 points a game his first year in 81. In 82, he was averaging 22 points a game. And in 82-83, when they won the title, he averaged 19 points a game. But remember, he was the third wheel. He was the third option because Moses Malone and Dr. J were the first two options for Philadelphia. So for him to average 20 points a game was phenomenal. And again, he saves his best work for the Boston Celtics and the LA Lakers. He played much better basketball against those two guys. Now, after about 84, 85, then the injuries started to creep up. Because in 84, he had complained, in fact, in 1985, he had complained that he had hurt his foot. And for some reason, the Philadelphia people did not believe him. And he tried to play valiantly on one leg. But he never regained that touch that made him the Boston